years from now, the government created a compulsory surgery which everyone must do at 16 in order to be beautiful. They have a dormitory and school where all the uglies are schooled called Uglyville until they turn 16 and are trans 16 and are transformed to pretties, which is their most perfect, beautiful and happy selves, and are then sent to live in the cities. Tally is one of the students who can't wait to become a pretty. She often uses an app in her room to visualize what it would look like to be pretty. She goes to the bridge with her best friend Paris, whom she fondly calls Nose, and he calls her Squint, to go watch the pretties partying in the city during lights out using some special glasses. Paris will be turning 16 tomorrow, so will get his transformation tomorrow, while Tally will be 16 in 3 months' time. They promise each other that whatever happens that they won't get rid of their matching scars during the surgery to get pretty, and also to meet each other under a bridge in a month's time after turns 16 and turns pretty. During assembly the next morning, Tally casually heard some students discussing about a place called The Smoke, where many people hide when they escape the Uglyville and avoid doing the surgery, and it's led by some guy named David, but most students don't think it's real. Almost immediately the governor's hologram appeared to give a speech on why it's important to look pretty and perfect, and then called up the one turning 16 to come anger their surgery. Tally and Paris said their goodbye, and reminds him of the bridge meeting in 1 month. Later that day, Tally remembered the day she met Paris. She had just been dropped off at the dormitory by her parents, and Paris was the kid behind her in line, and they exchanged nicknames and became best friends. Also, she remembered how they got their scars. Paris broke her tablet when she was obsessing about being pretty and got it injured from the cracked screen. The Tally also cut herself to get a matching scar as they promised to become best friends forever. A few days later, Tally took her classes and studies seriously. She also keeps checking her interface rings to see if Paris has replied to any of her messages, but he hasn't still replied. After a month, Tally sneaks out by hacking the window, as she always does when she wants to sneak out, and leaves her ring behind, so they won't notice that she's not in her room. She gets to the bridge, but Paris was not there. She climbs the bridge and jumps to the city. As she was sneaking around, she saw a mask on the floor and wears it. Immediately the mask transforms her looks and made her look like one of the party-goer pretties in the city. Now Tally gets into the party and started admiring the decorations. She bumps into Paris, who doesn't look like his previous self anymore. Tally takes off her mask so he can recognize her and asked why he didn't show up at the bridge. Paris replies that things are not the same anymore, and he didn't know how to contact her anymore. Tally was in disbelief and realized that he has changed a lot, and that his scars are not even there anymore. Almost immediately the security systems detects her presence, and Tally had to run away from the guards. She steals a jacket to aid her jumping. Tally jumps out of the city and gets under the bridge, but she accidentally kicks a stone, and a drone nearby sensed her presence and comes to arrest her. Suddenly another girl, Shay, rescues her, and they escape using her hoverboard. The drone loses them as they succeeded. As a way of showing appreciation, Tally reached Shay how to break into the kitchen to steal some snacks. They talked about their experiences, and Tally tells Shay about Paris and how he has left her behind. That was when they realized that they had the same birthday, and then decided to stay best friends. The next day, Shay teaches Tally how to use hoverboards. At school, some girls give Shay a book she gave them about the smoke. Tally picks interest in reading the book. Tally and Shay continue their friendship. They do and share things and skills together. Tally was able to learn how to use the hoverboard. Tally gives Shay back the books that she was done reading it. That was when Shay pointed out that it wouldn't be so bad not to get the surgery. Tally responds that she will be an outcast without the surgery, and Shay suggested that they can go to the smoke. Tally tells her that the smoke is not real. And Shay decides to show her how to get to David. She also tells her that she's not going on with the surgery and that she wants to remain her true self forever without be altered. She also begs Tally to come with her. Tally refuses and said she wants to be pretty. Shay gives her directions in case she changes her mind before leaving. On Tally's birthday, everyone got the surgery except her. She was then taken to see the governor, Dr. Cable. She told Tally that Shay was missing and that Tally should help to find her. Tally denied knowing where Shay was. Dr. Cable saw from the lie detector that she was lying and sends her back to the dormitory without the surgery. Paris came to visit her that night and she explains to him. He tells her to tell Cable what she knows, especially since Shay was in danger. The next day she was summoned again by Dr. Cable, who lies to her that the smoke was making a weapon to destroy the city and that Shay is a victim who entered the trap without knowing. She tells Tally to either save her friend or just get the surgery. Tally decides to save her friend and was given a signal necklace to activate if she finds the weapon. Tatti follows the description that Shay gave her in Other to get to the smoke. It was a rough journey for her, but she survives. She used the opportunity to admire nature and its beauties. She resumes her journey. Now she has gotten to a field where the instructions said she should wait to be picked up. Meanwhile, Dr. Cable summoned Paris and asked him how he felt seeing Tally in her dormitory. Paris admits that it felt good and he was able to remember some of his old life. Cable tells him that he is special and is among the selected few that should undergo more surgery to become more perfect, which he agreed to and was given another enhancement surgery. That night, Tally wakes up coughing due to smoke and realizes the field is on fire. Unsure of what to do, she is suddenly rescued by a mysterious figure named David, who scans her and her belongings for trackers. He finds a tracker in her hoverboard and removes it, but his scanner doesn't react to her necklace. Meanwhile, Cable's men are alerted to the tracker's removal and send search teams to the area. The next morning, Tally and David reach a smoke outpost where Tally reunites with her friend Shay, who is thrilled to see her, while Croix remains wary. As they set up camp for the night, Shay asks about Tally's necklace, and Tally lies, saying it was a gift from Pierre's. Tally expresses concern about Shay's happiness after Cable's comments, leading Shay to think Tally wants her to return. This sparks an argument, but Tally ultimately agrees to give the smoke a chance. The following day, Tally learns that the smoke intentionally sets fires to burn orchids, which are actually toxic and ruin the land. Initially skeptical, Tally argues that the orchids were a clean energy solution, but David explains that this is a government deception and that they're harming the planet. He invites Tally to join their mission to prove this, which Croix opposes, but Shay supports her. The group has an old helicopter they've equipped with solar panels, and they fly out to see the barren land where orchids used to thrive. During the flight, Shay uses a flamethrower to destroy as many orchids as she can. When Croix's tablet alerts them to an approaching presence, David lowers the helicopter to hide in the smoke, causing Shay to fall when the rope is loosened. With the scouts getting closer, Tally ties a bag to the end of the rope for weight and jumps down to help Shay. As the helicopter starts to lose altitude, Tally finds Shay and throws a flaming bag at a scout who tries to approach. They manage to hold onto the rope and are lifted away just in time. After landing, Croix blames Tally for their discovery, but Shay defends her, and David believes anyone willing to risk their life for the smoke deserves a chance. That night, Tally struggles to sleep, preoccupied with thoughts of Cable and her manipulations. She steps out of the tent and accidentally finds David bathing in the river, leading her to retreat in embarrassment. The next day, Tally is blindfolded and brought to the smoke community, where she discovers a thriving environment. Although she thinks life is tougher than in the city, she finds the food tastes better when grown naturally. Everyone, including the elderly, works without money, sharing resources instead. The community recycles train tracks for tools but refrains from making weapons, as they are pacifists. One afternoon, Tally stumbles upon a mysterious door, but Croix catches her and sends her away. Tally begins to help with the tracks and enjoys spicy food and dancing around the fire. Later, David teaches her to use a hunting crossbow, and after some practice, she successfully hits the target. On their way back, David shares that he grew up in the wild and never saw the city, which surprises Tally since she barely knew her own parents. He gifts her a pair of gloves, which signifies his affection for her. After a smoke member returns with a wound from orchid burning and warns that the scouts are still nearby and unusually strong, Shay notices Tally's gloves, highlighting their significance. She encourages Tally to make a decision about her feelings for David. During a walk with him, Tally mentions rumors of a weapon to destroy the city, prompting David to take her to a remote house where his parents, Oz and Maddie, guard valuable books. They reveal their past as cosmetic surgeons for the government, who became suspicious of certain tests and began their own investigation. They discovered that the physical changes associated with becoming pretty were a cover for brain alterations, leading to a state of ignorance and compliance. The operation has led to many deaths, which were concealed. When Cable learned of their findings, she seized their research. David's parents chose to escape the city to live freely in the woods, seeking a way to recreate a cure for this brain alteration, though they only have a basic serum. After their conversation, Tally throws her necklace into the fire, deciding to stay with the smoke community. She attempts to confess her past mistakes to David, but he reassures her that she is a new person now, and they share a kiss as the necklace sparks in the flames. In the morning, chaos erupts as city aircraft arrive at the smoke community and open fire. The rebels scramble for safety, but the scouts pursue them relentlessly, outsmarting the traps set in place. Despite the traps like nets and logs, the scouts' speed and strength prove overwhelming, and they begin capturing members of the smoke, including Shay. Tally manages to find a hiding spot with David, who is eager to help but is restrained by Tally's caution. As they sneak toward the gathering area for the prisoners, Tally is heartbroken to see Piers, her former friend, now serving as a scout. The situation intensifies when Cable arrives and demands to know David's whereabouts. Oz and Maddie, David's parents, refuse to give in to Cable's demands, resulting in a brutal ultimatum for Oz's life. Tally and David rush out to intervene. They arrive too late to save Oz. Cable then manipulates the situation, declaring that Tally has been a traitor, and the smoke members turn against her. Amidst the chaos, Maddie discreetly slips the serum for the brain alteration into David's pocket, hoping it can help them later. As Cable announces plans for everyone to undergo surgery, Tally takes decisive action by igniting a fire in the supply shack. She grabs a crossbow and makes her escape through a window just as a scout attempts to break in. Ensuing explosion from the fire throws the scout back, giving David the chance to flee. Tally uses her bow to take down a pursuing scout, but when Piers expresses a desire to join the chase, Cable orders a retreat. Some scouts begin destroying Maddie's research, while others force the remaining prisoners into the aircraft. After they leave, David scavenges the area for supplies to mount a rescue mission. When Tally approaches him, he lashes out, nearly harming her due to his anger and mistrust. She pleads with him to let her help, reminding him that she knows the city better than he does. Later, Tally and David venture into the city, where Tally introduces him to students who read Shay's book, proving that the smoke community is real. Callie borrows an interface ring and enlists the help of other kids to create a distraction. They write the smoke lives in the sky using their hoverboards, drawing attention away from David and Tally as they infiltrate the aircraft. Navigating through the aircraft's tunnel, they land safely with the help of bungee vests. They stealthily explore the facility. But when Tally attempts to hack a door with a ring, it fails to work. Suddenly, a scout appears and David engages him in a fierce fight, ultimately overpowering him. Tally seizes the opportunity to take the scout's ring and locks him out before the alarms begin to blare. They find the prison cells and use the ring to free the captured rebels. However, Tally quickly realizes that Shay is missing, and Croix informs her that Shay has already undergone the surgery. Devastated, Tally tries to apologize, but Shay insists that she loves her new life as a pretty. Just then, Cable and Piers arrive, forcing Tally, David, and Maddie into the surgery machine. As the procedure begins, the smoke helicopter suddenly appears outside, with Croix launching a flamethrower attack. The chaos forces Cable and Piers to flee, causing damage to the machine and halting the operation. Tally rushes to grab Shay, while Maddie retrieves an essential component from the lab. They escape to the roof, where Tally confronts Piers, trying to reach the boy she once knew by reminding him of their past. David misinterprets Piers' gentle touch on Tally's face as a threat and tackles him, leading to a fierce struggle. In a desperate moment, Tally uses a hoverboard to knock Piers off balance, sending him falling into a waterfall below. With their enemies distracted, the group escapes on their hoverboards, witnessing the other teenagers causing chaos in the sky by crashing drones together. They find refuge in an abandoned part of the city, where Maddie begins to mix the serum from David's pocket into a potential cure. Uncertain of its effects, Tally volunteers to be the test subject. She plans to allow herself to be captured once more, undergo the surgery, and then take the cure, promising to signal to the others if it works. As the aircraft and Cable approach, Tally bids farewell to her friends and allows herself to be arrested. Later, she finds herself living in a luxurious apartment as a perfect pretty. While she outwardly claims to love her new life, the scar on her hand is a constant reminder of her true self and her role as a spy, biding her time for a chance to reclaim her identity and help her friends. Please like and subscribe.